Hello and welcome to the Sensual Being podcast with myself, your host, Jolene Whiting. I have been a pole dance teacher for nearly 20 years. I'm also a yoga instructor, and my favourite pastimes are connecting to my own sensuality, connecting with the world, and connecting with animals as well. In this podcast, you'll find new and inventive ways of how you see yourself, connecting yourself with others, and also how you see and view the world around you. For this episode of the podcast, we are going to be talking about one of my favourite subjects, which is how to have more sensual play and intimacy. Hello, sensual being, and welcome to the podcast. We have one of my favorite topics today. Is one of my favorites. Love this, love it. Is how to have more sensual sex. Now, I really would like to change the word sex, really. Play, sensual play, because what we're going to discuss today does not necessarily involve sex. It's more on the side of intimacy. Now, you can have sex without any intimacy, and you can have intimacy without any sex. So you could have sex without intimacy. You could literally go to a bar, pick up a guy or a girl, and then just have sex. You know, it might even be just in the toilets in the bathroom there. And you probably will find it will lack intimacy. I'm not saying it will lack passion, but it can lack intimacy, the closeness, the connection. Because sometimes, to be honest, when you first meet somebody, a lot of the time the connection isn't there. It takes a while to build. Whereas if you have intimacy without sex, that can be related to those first dates that you go on and you spend the whole time talking, or you might spend the night together, but you literally spend the whole night talking together and you are so fired up, you're not even tired and you're not having sex. But the intimacy is huge. The connection is huge. Yeah? So those are the differences between sex and intimacy, and they can overlap. And this is why, when, I don't know if you've heard this, where did I hear this? I can't remember. But where somebody has said thinking is cheating. Yeah. I mean, that maybe goes a bit too far, but what I'm trying to say is if you are with somebody and you're connecting on an intimate level, but you haven't touched each other, are you cheating? I don't know. It depends on the parameters of your relationship. But it's a weird one, because you're being intimate with someone and you're creating that connection. And in my eyes, love and relationships are all about connection, because you wouldn't have a relationship completely void of connection and intimacy. That is the foundation of a relationship. It isn't just that feeling of one night stand, because there's nothing there. And if you are in a relationship where there's nothing there, then maybe I've just highlighted that for you. Sorry. Not sorry. And also, I remember hearing something, I think it was on Sex and the City, like, sex can still be great without an orgasm. And then I can't remember, it's probably Samantha said, oh no, it can't. But actually, it depends what you're trying to achieve, because achieve isn't the right word, but you know what I mean. So the reason why I'm bringing this back to sensual is because sensual play, sensual sex is intimacy. And that can be the bit that we often take for granted in a relationship and that we don't do as much. So things like say when you're out and you're having a meal and you're sitting across from each other and you're waiting for the food to come out, touch each other's hands, play with each other's feet under the table. The touching, the connecting, because when we are close with somebody, as in physically close, our auras will start to intertwine and come together. So having that connection is huge. Walking along the street holding hands, arm in arm, it is huge. And this is where, like when people start to finish each other's sentences, it's because they are becoming in tune with each other. And that's intimacy, that's closeness, that's the connection. One of the things that we can do for a start is to create more time for each other. You might not be able to block out a whole weekend, and that's fine. But see if you can actually block out some time and put it in your diaries and actually make the time to be together. Even if that's just going for a meal, whatever it is for you to connect. Yeah, it might just be just to sit down and stop together and turn off the TV and just be together. A lot of people say, oh yeah, but I much prefer sex to be spontaneous. And I ask them, well, how often do you get it? And they're like, well, I don't. It's like, okay, spontaneous sex. I mean, come on, that's the dream. Oh, to be pushed up against the wall. And oh, you just weren't expecting it. And all the passion is all there. Oh, it's lovely. And I'm not saying it can't happen, but we live busy lives. Therefore, you've got to make the time sometimes. And the thing is, when you've each got that block of time together, it's so exciting. Like, because you're making the time. So this is huge. It's to actually put the time in the diary. Because it's that thing of, I prefer it spontaneous. If it can be done at any time, do you know what? Probably won't be. But when you get pockets of time together, that is when things will happen. And you get excited for it. You remember going on holiday? Like you don't do it anymore. We do go on holiday. So when you go on holiday, part of the excitement is looking forward to it. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I'm going to do this. I'm so excited. Imagine that within your, that's your foreplay. How cool is that? So yeah, definitely put it in the diary. Looking into each other's eyes. So when you take a little bit of time just to be with each other, even if you've only got 5 minutes, look into each other's eyes. Because it's funny, my partner often comes over and has a cup of tea with me in the morning, and then we go about our days after that. And if we've been a bit consumed by what we're talking about, sometimes he leaves and I think, oh my God, I didn't look at him. I didn't properly look. And I'm like, oh my God. And that, again, I've lost a bit of connection, but I recognize it and I regain it back. But yeah, that's huge. Actually have a moment where you look into each other's eyes. Particularly, this is how come you get drawn into those first kisses as well, is because you look at each other's eyes and it's like magnets and you get drawn into each other. Oh, it's delicious. And with sort of knowing you've got some time coming up, teasing each other. Whether you tease each other in person or on the phone, it doesn't matter, a little bit of a touch and then bye, going about my day now. That passion, you can ignite that yourself. You don't have to just let it dwindle. You can keep that going. And to be honest, I've been with my partner now for coming up to 11 years. You have to keep doing it. You have to keep igniting it. Otherwise it will go out. And if you want it to go out, fine, but it does not have to. And if you've been in a relationship for as long as me and then you think, we stopped having sex years ago, bring it back. There's a reason why you're still together. You don't have to not bring it back. But give yourself time, patience, and attention towards each other. So if you are having some fun together, slow it down. If you always go straight for intercourse, slow it down. Do some foreplay, take your time, tease each other. The frustration will build in a good way. If you like to dance, maybe just one of you likes to dance for the other person. If you like to dance together, that's delicious too. If you are married, maybe put on your old wedding song and dance. And just be with each other. It's just... when you connect and move yourself together through music, the connection there is very, very powerful, particularly if the songs mean a lot to you. That can be very, very powerful and it's beautiful. And don't be afraid to create your world. Yeah, so I like to create a misread layer. Yeah, I love it. I've got the little moonlights I put up. I put candles round. I normally have like a smelly candle. My smelly candle, I love it. It's my favorite one. And it's one of those, because I'm very big with like smells. So when I smell this candle, I'm like, oh, I am in the mood. Yes. It's like an instant game changer. And I think we underestimate smell, but I'm sure you smelt things before, maybe like some sweets, and you're like, oh my God, that reminds me of when I was 5 and I was going here. And I'm like, whoa, smells are so powerful to transport us back into like nostalgic moments. So if you can use that, if there's a certain fragrance that you like, a certain perfume, maybe there's a certain aftershave as well that you like, make sure it's being used, because all of these things will really heighten your ability to be intimate and to slow down and really feel the moment. All these things really connect us. Music as well. Make sure the music is what you want to hear, whatever mood you want to have. Make your playlist and enjoy it. Enjoy it. And music has a habit of just transporting us, boom, straight back to another moment. And again, that is just so beautiful to do. One of the other things as well is I'd suggest don't really have a drink. I know some of you are going to be like, oh, Jolene, I love having it. Just one. For a start, okay, maybe just one. Maybe I'll let you have that. But for a start, don't get wasted. Because again, you're losing the intimacy. And even if you do have passionate sex, the connection isn't there. I mean, for a start, if you can't quite remember the next day what you did, what was the point? What was the point if you've lost those pockets of time together from the night before? What was the point? But the reason why I say, oh, do you know what? I wouldn't even have one, is because I just want you to try it. But again, like with so many things, you might feel a little bit uncomfy because you're like, oh, I normally have a drink. And somehow it not only lowers your inhibitions, it's great if you want to talk about new things and try new things, but it can actually numb you. It can numb your body so you don't feel things in the same way. And I know sometimes it's easier to talk. So say if you want to talk dirty or something like that, it's easier to say the things once you've had even one drink, even one sip. That's what I'm like. One sip and I'm like, woohoo. Well, not woohoo. I say other stuff. But even having just one drink will change your body. And I know you might think it relaxes you, but it will like numb you. I mean, for a start, I stopped drinking just over a year ago. And to be honest, I do miss it. I love a glass of wine in my dominant self is misread. I've got a couple of nice wine glasses and stuff, and I love them. And it's almost like it's part of the outfit, having the drink. But my clit goes numb. So I'm like, what's the point? I don't want that. I don't want that. Who wants that? So no. So I do firmly believe that if you don't have a drink, you will feel more in so many ways. And I think a lot of time, particularly if you need your inhibitions lowered by drink, we can blame the drink for how we are like coming across or for the things we're asking for in the bedroom. We can hide behind the drink. Yeah, and you're like, if your partner judges you, because the thing is, the longer you've been with somebody, the more worried you are about them judging you. Have you ever sort of experienced or noticed that when you first get with someone, you're very adventurous in the bedroom compared to maybe 10 years down the line or 5 years down the line? Because we build up a wall and a barrier that we can't fathom that person judging us. So if we have a few drinks, we could just blame it on the drink. You know, oh, well, it must have been the drink. I'd never have asked you to do that otherwise. And it's like, no, own it. If you like to be taken up the arse, own it. If you like to give blowjobs until you throw up, own it. Don't blame the drink. If you like it, do it and own it, because it's so powerful when you actually embrace these parts of you. If you come and you're really, really loud, own it. Because that's hot. Come on, that is hot. You know that's hot. Own it. Don't be like, oh, well, I'm so loud when I've had a drink. No, you probably want to be loud even without. You're just not letting yourself go. And it's so much more fun when you do let yourself go. I promise you. I hope that sort of talking about this stuff today, I'm not saying you need permission to let go, but sometimes when you hear these things from other people said out loud in the real world, and you kind of think, oh, well, I can do it. She can talk about it. Maybe I can do it too. And this is a ripple effect. So I get inspired by other people as well. So when they say stuff or mention things or do things, and I'm like, oh, maybe I could do that too. I've always liked it. And it's a ripple effect of like, if I tell you this and hopefully you'll go and do something that works for you or that you want to let go and things like that. Don't be afraid though with this, like I said earlier, to create your own world. Like the world that me and my partner create, particularly because we like to go to like clubs and events and stuff, like fetish events. But I said to him that my favorite thing is for when we play at home, because we are so much more relaxed. We can do whatever we want, however we want, wear whatever we want. And we create, I create this little world, like with the lights, with the candles. And I feel like it's so important. It's so important. So don't be afraid. Even if it's just as simple as turning off all the lights and lighting a candle. Don't dumb down how important it is just to like set a mood and create your own world. And it doesn't always have to lead to sex. It really doesn't. The intimacy, maybe a bit of dancing, talking, maybe sharing some nice food, maybe get something. Like I love it when I've got my partner, he's on his knees and he's just holding out a platter for me and he's made it. It would be all things I love. Like it would be like some cheese and some grapes and stuff like that. And it would be just like really nice. And it's just so nice to like have that or to share that. Don't be afraid to actually make these bits of effort, because none of these things have to have anything to do with sex. But intimacy can be so powerful. You can dress up for intimacy, and don't think, I got all dressed up and we didn't even have sex. Don't ever think that, because the intimacy is what will drive your relationship forward. And it will keep that spark there. Having sex, I don't believe, just keeps a spark there. Intimacy does. That is the key to all of this. So remember, more touching, looking into each other's eyes, teasing each other, dance for each other or with each other, or just enjoy music together that means something to you. Don't be afraid to set the space, candles, fragrance, lights, and try your best to see if you can do all this without having a drink if possible. Or if you do like to get wasted together, maybe just have a drink. But actually have your focus as not that you're going to get wasted. Have your focus on you want to create more intimacy together. And to be honest, if you suggest this to your partner and they're not up for it, I mean, I'm sorry, who's not? I just can't think who's not actually up for being more intimate with their partner if they're not interested. And I've been in situations before where I have been turned down by my partner, not my current partner. This was years ago. And I would come in wearing like a really nice outfit and be like, let's have some fun together. And he was like, no, I'm not in the mood. And I'm like, fuck me, my ego just got slated. And that was quite a lot to work with over the years. I had to do a lot of work with that because it happened more than once. And in between, there wasn't any sex or intimacy or closeness. And I had to really work with that. And that was very damaging. So that's why when I talk about these ideas and stuff, I know how important they are. And also I know how important it is to be with somebody who actually wants to give you the time of day. you've got to work it into your own schedule and everything, particularly if you have children. I know it's different. That's why I say sometimes just lighting a candle, turn off the lights and just being with each other, hugging, being close, touching. Doesn't always have to lead to anything, but it's keeping that intimacy there, keeping the connection there, because that is what will drive you forward in your relationships. And hopefully make them long lasting and enjoyable. And if it's not enjoyable, life is too short to be with people who don't want to be with you. If I ever found out that my partner was with me just because they felt bad for leaving me, I would be livid, because I'd be like, you fucking wasted all that time when you knew that you didn't want to be with me. I'd be like, why have you done that to me? How dare you? Like, leave, go. Like, I don't want to be with anybody who wants to waste my time, and I won't be with anybody and waste their time. I've been in relationships before where I'm too worried to leave because I don't want to upset the other person. I am a people pleaser at heart. I'm not a me pleaser. So all this stuff I do, you probably think, she really can really focus on herself. I find it really hard because I don't want to hurt anybody. Yeah. I remember talking to somebody one day and she took her finger and she stuck it on an ant and just killed it. The conversation ended because I was like, I don't know how to talk to you anymore. I honestly don't want to hurt anyone or anything. Yeah. So I am one of those people who has stayed in a relationship 4 years longer than I should have done. Wow, 4 years. So I know what it's like to actually break away from something. But I promise you, life is not worth staying with people who make you unhappy. Or maybe you make them unhappy because you're unhappy. Yeah? So, some deep stuff there. Let's keep it lighthearted though. Let's have some fun with some intimacy and some sensual play, making some time for each other and actually enjoying each other and enjoying your life. And remember, as always, to lead through your life with your heart and to live with intention. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode, please do share it with your friends and on social media. If you have the time to rate or review this podcast, I'd be ever so grateful. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you can find me at Jolene Sensual Being. The links to my YouTube and to sign up to my mailing list will be in the show notes as well. I look forward to speaking with you again very soon.